Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm gonna basically now work on drilling out the oil pan to get it ready for the fittings that I'm gonna have to install on the side of it. So it's been draining for a week now. There shouldn't be much left in this at all. Yeah, it's pretty dry now. Yeah, I don't see any more oil running in, so I've pretty much drained it completely, which is great. I'm gonna put the oil away for now, and then we'll start working on marking it up and drilling it out. Alright, so basically I'm just gonna wipe down this edge because I'm gonna have to flip it over, and I can basically show you what we're doing. So, per the Science of Speed instructions, which is section 2, this is the fitting installation and the reinstallation of the oil pan that we're doing now. Basically, we've drained the oil pan. I'm going to clean it up and dry it after I've drilled it out. I don't think I need to really do that before, because it's just going to get dirty again. So basically, the process tells you once it's drained, you're going to flip it over, lay it face down, and you're going to drill these 2 points here using these templates. These templates basically at the end here. So I'll just take some scissors, cut these out, put them on the oil pan as shown in the diagram, and then basically drill those spots using whatever size they tell you, and then that should prepare me to be able to put the oil pan fittings on, or the oil drain fittings from the turbos. So let's do that next. Alright, so as you can see, I've pretty much folded it. What it tells you to do is to actually punch out the holes or cut out the holes. I don't really have a hole punch, to be honest. You're just drilling some holes into it. I don't think you have to be that precise. I think as long as you make sure the holes are pretty much where they should be, you'll be fine. And then you tape it to the unit so you could drill. So this rear tells you side with the oil drain pan. So per the picture, basically this hole is going to line up basically directly under the oil pan bolt. So look at me. So the instructions don't really tell you what size drill bits to use, but it looks like about like a 3/32, so that's what I'm going to use. So as you can see, the front one, the end of this paper is about where this curve is. So it looks like it aligns with these 2 holes. Is where they're about. It's looking to place it. Yeah, because you can see in this picture here, the last hole is right here, and you're not on it. So Alright, so basically it says that the front of the oil pan uses a 90-degree AN8 fitting, and the rear uses a straight. The hole sizes aren't identical for them, so it's basically telling you gotta find the appropriate size for that fitting, and not to just assume it's the same front and rear, which is a good thing to catch. So I'm gonna go get these fittings now and basically see what size I think makes sense to drill these out to. Alright guys, so I had to kind of run out to pick up some stuff. So I'm doing this a little later in the day, but basically I found the fittings. They were a little bit covered in rust, so I just had to clean them up because they've been sitting in my basement for almost like a year and a half now. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure about the diameter of what that inner part of this AN8 fitting is, so that I can then kind of mark it off on the step drill that I have, and then I know where to and they're about drill to and stop without going too deep. I already did the pilot holes as you guys saw earlier today, so now I'm just going to do the step drill. Alright, so this next one's going to be a little weird because if you notice, the hole is literally right next to where the oil pan baffle is. I mean, there's not much I can do about that. This was installed pretty like a while ago, and that would have been where it would reside normally. So I'm going to see if using the step drill will actually cut into that and just work. I'm gonna leave it like that. I was trying to do it so this sinks in, but considering it's such like if I let it sink in all the way, I'm only gonna have like an 1/8 inch gap to try to weld in there, which might be really difficult. So instead I'm just gonna leave it as is, where it would let me just be right up against this edge and give me a little more space. I think that's good. Alright, so as you can see, I did the 2 holes in the oil pan. I'm gonna basically, I'm waiting for my welder. I'm actually gonna weld this. I think it's a good opportunity to start learning how to weld. So I bought a welder. I'm waiting for that to come in. So I was able to basically get the fitting holes put in place. I might try to clean up that little section there so it's not so jagged. Maybe smooth it out with a Dremel, and then from there I think I should be good to go for welding those on. I just gotta remove any paint and contaminants in the area and weld it. Yeah, this thing is nice. I've never had a step drill. This is what I went out to buy, and that actually worked out pretty well to get the hole the right size. I guess I'll just leave it from at that point. We'll pick it up next weekend where I'll finally be able to weld it. Hey guys, so here's basically my like 3 or 4 month update on this whole project. So basically where I last left off was modifying the oil pan. So in the science speed package, it basically tells you you have these two AN fittings. One's a straight and the other's like a 90-degree elbow. You're supposed to drill and weld these on to certain locations of the oil pan. So I kind of took that opportunity to say, you know, this would be a good excuse to learn welding and get a welder myself and tackle the job and try to do this welding on the oil pan. Thinking back on it, maybe not a good idea to learn how to weld on your oil pan. So I guess that's the tip I would take away from all this is if you're gonna do this project and you don't have a welder and you're looking for a reason to learn how to weld, maybe don't do it on the part that actually holds oil for your engine, because if you screw it up, you're kind of screwed. There is a workaround which I'll show you. I think it's a workaround that actually works because it's actually holding oil right now. With that said, you could just take it to someone to weld it for you that actually knows how to weld and that you can trust. That's probably what I should have done thinking about it. But I mean, part of tuning your car and all that stuff is learning, so I'll just say it's a learning experience, that welding on an oil pan is very difficult. Maybe someday I'll be able to do it with more practice, but for now it's not something that I would recommend someone that doesn't have any experience to just tackle the job. So there's that takeaway that, you know, welding is difficult, especially TIG welding. So I wouldn't recommend to learn on your oil pan if that's what you're trying to do like I did. So I guess basically I'll show you what I ended up doing as an alternative solution, which is I'll pull it off now so I can show you guys. So Jegs sells these basically AN8 oil pan fittings that you have a O-ring on them, and that seals the seam, and then basically you can plug stuff in like normal. So as you can tell, right now I have some oil. I've done it in 2 phases. I've tipped it forward to submerge this one completely. Then check to make sure no oil leaks in there, and then I've basically tipped it this way, and that's covering up to where the O-ring is, so I know there shouldn't be any oil that gets through that fitting. And as you can see, it's pretty much bone dry, not leaking or anything like that. Oil there, and the other side over here is pretty much bone dry as well. So I'm taking this as a success story in regards to my failure to do this welding properly. So basically, it's, if you do want to do this and not take it to a welder, maybe you can just go and do this instead. Alright guys, so basically what I'm going to do is take all the bolts that I previously put in just for safekeeping, so that we have all the hardware we need to install, and I also loosen this bracket out of the way so that I can get to it. So let's finish taking this off. There you go. So we'll put that back on later. So there's one. Alright, so hardware's out. What I'm gonna do is do a quick wipe down and scrape any like old residue that they left on here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you can kind of see there's like this, I guess maybe it's Honda bond that they used before on the four corners where the seam is. I'm gonna probably do the same, as just apply a small bit of Honda bond at that location so that it like helps seal along those little seams. But I think it's probably worth cleaning them off for now. So I'm gonna do that next. So I have like this little spatula thing. I'm gonna see if I could scrape some off. Yeah, it's coming off. I don't think you want anything really abrasive, so probably plastic, just so that you don't damage the finish. Well, the camera kind of overheated while I was recording, but basically I finished doing 2 times around like 10 foot-pounds for each bolt. Now they're pretty all snug, and you can see good compression on all the gaskets around. So what I gotta do next is reinstall this bracket. I think it's like a transmission brace or something. Back onto the car, torque this, torque the drain plug to 33 foot-pounds, and then we're done with the oil pan, and we can proceed on to the next part of the project, which would be the next video. So I went and got the hardware we need, the tools we need. So you need basically a size 14 socket, a size 12 socket, and then a size 17. The 17 for the drain plug, and then the size 12 and 14 is for this that's torqued. So oil pan is done. So that should pretty much wrap up this part of the modification series. And next is actually like installing the actual turbo system. I kind of apologize for the delay. You know, things just happen and I'm learning. I'm not as efficient as like a proficient mechanic, which kind of was the whole point of this video, to show the struggles that a regular person can go through who's just learning how to do stuff like this. So hopefully everything else should be a little more smooth sailing, because now it's just installing stuff that Science of Speed issues to the kit, and I would think there's no more like custom stuff on my car that would make me have to work around it. So we'll see how that goes for the rest of the video series. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you watch the next video I make.